This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on new education policy opening new avenues. The participants are Dr. Anil Sahasrabuddhe, Chairman of All India Council for Technical Education, and Ashwini Srivastava, journalist.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed policymakers from education and skill development sectors besides students and teachers from across the country to mark the completion of 1 year of national education policy. He also launched multiple initiatives related to the NEP. Sir, what is the gist of today's address by the Prime Minister, and if you could highlight the key takeaways from his address?
Today is the completion of 1 year launch of the national education policy, exactly 1 year back on this same day. So Prime Minister took review of all the things which various organizations have done in terms of implementation of NEP. Implementation is the most important part, which he had said exactly about a year ago, that policy may be good, but unless it is implemented in right earnest, there is no use of that. And that is what he was talking about today. He also said connecting with the Platinum Jubilee of the independence of India, that is 75 years of celebration, Amrit Mahotsav हो रहा है. तो उन्होंने कहा कि राष्ट्र निर्माण में ये बहुत सुदृढ़ कदम है. It is like a yagya, that future ready graduates and students who are educated will come out, who will be the 21st century makers actually. So this is a generation which will remain for the next 25 years youthful, and therefore this policy is significantly important. And he also said that in the 1 year there was absolutely no restriction imposed on anyone in order to be what is known as innovativeness in terms of adding new types of activities, new types of decision making, and full freedom was given. So there was complete freedom, free from any shackles. जो उन्होंने हिंदी में बताया कि पिंजरे से बाहर है ना, आप पिंजरे के बाहर घूमो, और इसी का नतीजा है कि we are in a position to implement the policy in the best possible manner.
Sir, I would like to know, this NEP, it is said to be the first education policy of the 21st century, and it replaces the 34-year-old national policy on education of 1986. Why this national education policy was needed? What was the genesis for bringing out this policy, sir?
See, 1986 policy, now it is more than 34 years. Naturally, right. There are a lot of which have changed. In fact, it is the late 90s when internet became so commonplace. Today, everyone uses it through mobile or through laptop or whatever devices. So it has reached nooks and corners. So education has to be seen in perspective, in terms of digitalization that has happened, in terms of new technologies which have emerged, and therefore how we get adjusted and create future citizens. Dr. Kalam also used to say that we should fly high, your dream should be very high. And now every individual is dreaming high. And therefore the policy of 86 cannot be the same one which can continue for years together. So there was a need. And many new things which have come in are in terms of multidisciplinarity, academic bank of credits, multiple exit, multiple entry, also learning in our own mother tongue, even higher education. We have Indian knowledge systems. The great heritage of India has to be understood and made use of in the current times, be it for COVID or for anything else. And these are very, very important things, including skilling of people. They are becoming more employable. This was the necessity, and therefore the 21st century's policy has come in, which will now remain probably for the next 30 years, 3 decades or so. So all the elements of whatever autonomy in terms of different types of structures that are necessary have all been embedded into this particular policy.
Sir, during today's event, the PM also launched multiple initiatives in the education sector, including Academic Bank of Credit that will provide multiple entry and exit options for students in the higher education. Besides, first-year engineering programs in regional languages and guidelines for internationalization of the higher education. How do you see these initiatives, sir? How will these be beneficial?
These are all very empowering initiatives. Number one, when we talk about Academic Bank of Credits, a student joining a particular program, whatever he does in that institution and what courses he completes, and even if he does not complete the entire course, the whole program, even some part of it, those things have to be credited into the account of the student. It is like bank account, we put money and then we draw whenever we require. Exactly in the similar lines. A student may join a particular institution, do some credits, earn those, put them into his credit account, and then subsequently may be not able to complete. So can you do the evaluation of that and get something out of that, either a certificate or a diploma, if not in full-fledged degree? Or can he take these credits to another institution, make a few more additions to that, and then finally earn a degree? So these kind of flexibilities in terms of multiple entry, multiple exit, multidisciplinarity, and academic bank of credits is very, very fundamental. Okay. And learning the higher education in mother tongue. For arts, commerce might have been much easier. For science education, for engineering, for medicine, this policy talks about allowing students from very, very remote areas, rural areas, tribal areas, those who do not have access to English medium should also get access to higher education, engineering education.
And sir, this internationalization of higher education, how this policy will help in achieving that?
No, this policy will help because we have another national MOOC portal called SWAYAM. Okay. So on this SWAYAM platform, there are thousands of courses and many foreign students are taking it. Nearly 100 odd countries are using our SWAYAM portal for their education. So instead of our students going abroad and spending huge amount of money, if some of the foreign students come to our country because of our good quality of education is one aspect. Second aspect is some of the best universities of the world may set up their campuses in India and students may not be required to spend money. Tuition fee they will have to spend anyway. But as far as living expenditure is concerned, which is so expensive abroad, if they are staying in India in the Indian campuses of those foreign universities, we will make a lot of saving from our parents, our students. And so that's how on one side there is internationalization. There is a set of campuses coming from abroad. Our campus is going abroad.
The Prime Minister also launched Vidyapravesh, a 3-month play-based school preparation module for grade 1 students. Sir, if you could elaborate on this.
So this is a very exciting one. Unlike in the past, we used to have children who will come into the class 1 at the age of 6 and immediately they will start reading, writing and also arithmetic. We say 3 hours. And many of them, if the teachers are not very making it interesting class or etc., they will fall out and many of these school dropouts will happen. So this is one module where in the 3 months, the teachers will be intensely interacting with students in variety of ways, in terms of telling them stories, in terms of making them play games, in terms of variety of activities, taking them around in the garden, so that the education or learning is exciting. And this is a 3-month module. At the age of 6, when the students come, whether they come from Anganwadi and nursery, etc., or directly come to school at the age of 6 for the first time to the school, they are going to be enjoying those first 3 months in a manner that they will feel that I must learn. That spirit has to be imbibed.
Sir, there appears to be a confusion in the minds of many people related to this NEP. The feeling is there that it might, change the entire curriculum and the academic structure of elementary, middle and higher education in schools. Is their fear correct, sir? Or is this the only teaching pedagogy that is being targeted through NEP?
No, there is change in pedagogy, there is change in content, there is change in everything. And if someone is unnecessarily worried, they are wrong. In fact, this is absolutely empowering. Imagine that a child will not become disinterested in education but becomes interested in education. Is that bad? That change is certainly welcome by any parent.
That's very welcome.
Second, if they are given all those kind of toys and games where on their own they start learning, they will start becoming innovative, I think right from early age. Thirdly, at the age of 6 onwards, if there are some kind of vocational education or skills being imparted to the child, it will start working by hand, it will start understanding the physics behind that, and it will understand the chemistry behind that, and then gets gelled with all variety of possible skills of its interest. Different children may have different interests. So once you start following them, you become employable even prior to getting into the college, because you have got 1 or 2 skill sets, you are expert in that. And naturally, you are employable right at the level of 10th, 12th standard. Is that not good for anyone for that matter? No one is stopping them from continuing the education. But if they are already skilled, even if someone wants to discontinue the education, they are useful to themselves, families, their society, the nation. What an empowering policy it is. So why are someone feeling that something is going back?
Sir, there is much emphasis laid on class 10th and 12th examination in the existing education policy. What does NEP envisage with relation to examination of class 10th and 12th? I mean, people are much more concerned about class 10th and 12th. Should the weightage continue as it is, or it would take away some sort of worry or weightage out of class 10th and 12th examination?
First and foremost thing is one should stop worrying about examination itself. Prime Minister in the last 4 years, Pariksha Pe Charcha, I have heard him. One has to be a free learner, One has to have the spirit of trying to understand, trying to learn, try to apply, rather than what marks we get. I think that is where policy transformation is trying to take place. Secondly, there will be examination. Evaluation of the children is required. It's not that everything will be without examination. But examination should be stress-free. Real understanding of the subject has to be tested and then evaluated. And based on that, one can take, your education in maybe law, maybe medicine, maybe engineering, maybe music. And that talent in the individual has to be unearthed, supported, mentored. And that is what the policy talks about.
During today's address, Prime Minister Modi said that Indian Sign Language has been given the status of a subject, and he said it will be a great help to the Divyangjan students. How do you see this announcement?
So this is certainly useful for Divyangjan students because they would be able to learn the subject of their importance. But I think more importantly, even other people who are not Divyangas are also going to learn this as a subject, and that is very important. Today, someone who wanted to become a teacher for such kind of students only were learning. Tomorrow, anyone and everyone who is interested in and understanding this will also be in a position to take this course and use it for credit for the particular program as an elective. That means there are two things which will happen. Any such child who comes across anywhere, many large number of people will be in a position to talk to them, teach them, understand them. So a spirit of one side empathy also develops and one will become useful to these children.
Sir, the national education policy emphasizes much on artificial intelligence. And in today's address, PM also said that AI to be made available in regional language. Sir, if you could elaborate on the importance of artificial intelligence.
Not only AI that is to be made available in regional languages or different state languages, but almost all the subjects, we must provide them in the regional languages. But as far as AI is concerned, this is made part of the curriculum of the school education, and that's why there are multiple things which will require to be happening. One is faculty, means school teachers have to be trained first in AI, and then students also have to pick up from where they are. And there are huge number of applications of AI today. At a very young age, in their own mother tongue, they learn AI. I'm sure many applications which we would have probably not even imagined will start coming out from not scientists, but our school children scientists. And that is why this AI teaching at the young age is very, very important.
Sir, there is also provision of Nishtha 2.0. It is aimed for teachers training, and Prime Minister also emphasized on training of teachers. How do you see this component in our education system?
Teacher training has been there for quite some time. For teaching in schools or high school, we are all aware that one has to not only have their own 10th, 12th standard or degree qualification, but also D.Ed or B.Ed. The nature of training of the teachers was in very, very old style. So it needed to be having a great transformation. Students have to feel like going to the teacher. Teacher should become like a magnetic attraction. Must become like honeybees go towards flowers. Like that, a student should go to the teacher. And that connect has to happen. And therefore, Nishtha will give training to teachers in terms of not only pedagogical aspects, but how do you really try to find out the talent, quality among students, and how do you encourage them. That role has to be played by teacher, and this training certainly will help them in achieving that goal.
We hope that the NEP brings transformation into India's education landscape and make the country a vibrant knowledge society and a global superpower. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Ashwini.
You were listening to a discussion on new education policy, opening new avenues. The participants were Dr. Anil Sahasrabuddhe, Chairman of All India Council for Technical Education, and Ashwini Srivastava, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsttalks@gmail.com.